In this video, we are going to solve this rational inequality, and then finally we represent the answer that we get on a number line, right? So the idea of a rational here is that I have a full video on the meaning of a rational. So what the rational means is that this guy here make this inequality a rational because this is the only person we can call a rational here, because you are carrying a number on your top, right? So it seems that you are carrying your friend on your top. So what I mean by that is that the definition of the rational says that a number on top and then there's another number at the down here. This is just a simple scenario for a rational. So the inequality here, this sign, this symbol here makes everything here inequality, right? So this one is far different from what the equation or maybe equal to sign. Now, I guess everyone knows how to solve. Let's say you have question like s plus 1 equal to 0. Then this is the equal to sign. So you know you subtract 1 from both sides of the equation. This is just the idea that we are going to convey in solving this inequality. And then once again, if you have a fraction, right? So in addition, the subtractions of a fraction, let's say you have 1 on 2 plus something like 2 on 3. How do you solve these things? So the key here is that you find the LCM, right? So the LCM, that is what the least common multiple among these. You should know how to determine the least common multiple, right? So out of this one here, that should be 6, right? If you don't know how to find the least common multiple, make sure that you comment in the comment section below. Then I'll make a video on that. Okay, so these are the two ideas that we are going to use in solving the rational inequality, right? So once you're able to know how to do these things here, then you are free to go, right? So you are free to go in solving this problem here. So in this case, you can see that if you take out these variables, right? So if you take out, in this case, that was just the x, right? So if you take out the s, you are just going to have a fraction like this. Okay, so that is why your first step is to understand how to determine the least common multiple of what a fraction for the addition and the subtraction. Now, here you find the least common multiple, which in this case that gives us 2. Also, because this is the only fraction that we are having, this is just similar like something 1 on 2, or maybe let's say there's another, so 2 plus or 1 on 2. How do you solve this one? You find the least common, this being assumed to be over 1, right? So you find the least common multiple, which is 2. What do you do with the least common multiple though? Then you proceed from that point. Now in case of the equation, if you have 1 on 2 multiplied by, or maybe in some cases 1 on 2 s plus or plus 1 equal to 3, right? Equal to 3. What are you going to do here? Once you have the equal to sign in your question, right? So in this case, that is just the question. So in your question, if you find the least common, this being assumed to be over 1, this one is just assumed to be over 1, which is give us the same number, right? So if you find the least common multiple, once you have the equal to sign here, you are going to use the least common multiple, which in this case that is 2, to multiply everybody. So what I mean by everybody here, this is one person, this is the second person, this is the third person, right? So you use your least common multiple here to multiply everybody for us to arrive at a point that looks similar to this one. This is a simple form that you can easily solve. That is the reason why you need to determine the least common multiple. Use that to multiply everything and then proceed from that point. Now let's get back to our question. So in this case, the least common multiple here is 2, right? So that's the least common multiple that give us 2. So we are going to use this 2 here to multiply everything. So on the left hand side, you have this guy as well as this guy. So we are going to use the 2 to multiply the 3s here, all right? And then minus, so use the 2 to multiply everything. That will give us s minus 1. So less than what? So the 2 again multiply 3 on 2 into bracket s minus 2. All right, so obviously that you are using your least common multiple to multiply everything. The reason is that we want to get to the linear point. That's just a name, right? So in just a second we will get it. So here you multiply this one, that gives us 6s. I guess you should pause the video, right? So pause the video, come back and come and check the solution. Okay, so congrats. So let's proceed from this point here. We have here to be what, 6x here, and then here will give us this one multiplied by this will give you a negative for 2x. Remember there's a negative here, so this guy multiplied by that will give you a positive positive 2, right? So pay a close attention to a negative numbers. So that'll give us less than. This one goes away. That is exactly why we look for the LCM, so that we can have a linear form, right? So this one cancel this one out. So we have a 3x. So this one, just the 3 multiplied the s, that gives us a 3s, and then this one multiplied by that should be a negative 4, negative 6, right? So from this point, what are we going to do? So all the x in one family, right? So let's subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. So minus 2 here and then minus 2 here, right? Then we are going to have 6x and then minus 2x. This guy goes away, right? So you are subtracting, that will be less than 3s, and then here will give us a negative. Is that okay? So since you want the x to be in one house, right? So this is what I'm calling the house. So the left hand side of the equation, we want all of those who are carry x as a friend to be in what, in one side. So here we are going to subtract what, minus 3x, and then you subtract minus 3x here to have all the x on one side. So here you have 6x and then minus 2x and then minus 3x here, and then this guy goes away, right? So they cancel out. So here we go, less than what, a negative 8. Is that okay? So from this point we can easily proceed, right? So if you are getting some value from this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, right? Subscribe to the channel, comment down below if you have any question. Now let's gather. This is just simple. Since all of them are having x, 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 it seems that they are all carrying one thing. So if that is the case, let's just deal with the numbers. So that will give us a 6 minus 2 and a minus 3, right? Okay. Now, if you subtract, you should have that will give us just 1, right? So that's the 6 minus 2 and then minus 3. That should just be 1. 6 minus 2 will give us 4, and then 4 minus 3. That should be 1. So 1 in this case, we are having the x. So that will give us 1x. Of course, that's just x, right? So x less than negative 8. Right, so this is the answer that we are getting, right? This is how simple that is. So the key step here is that anytime you come across inequality that involves a rational number here, your first step is to determine what the LCM, that's the least common multiple, and use that to multiply everything. Now we want to represent this thing on what, a number line. So this is just a number line, as the name suggests, numbers on the line, right? So always locate your zero. So because the zero is the starting point, so anybody that moves to the right hand side of the zero are positive. So assuming this is just let's say 2, right? So 2 and then 3, or maybe 4, right? So because the number that I'm seeing here is what I'm going to represent on a number line, not anything else. That's the most important thing. So we need people that are less than what, negative 8, or we need people that are owing less than what, negative 8 dollars, or maybe people that are owing what, people that are less than, and then they are owing what, 8, right? So maybe that should be just $8. So look at this. This one tells you that your arrow goes this way, right? So this is the pointer side. So that if you have an arrow, how do you draw the arrow? It's not like this, right? So that is just the sign, right? So this sign here tells me that your arrow should move in. If you want to know more this thing, make sure that you subscribe once again, right? So here I can say that here should be on negative 2 and then negative 4, negative 4, then negative 6. I can extend this one to be on negative 8, and then and so on and so forth. Right? So what are we going to do here? So here we see that we are starting from one negative 2. People that are less than negative 2, that is the most important thing that we are looking for. So this is the negative 4, negative 8, sorry, negative 8 in this case, right? So negative 8. Are these people less than negative 8, or these people are less than negative 6? Of course, anybody that comes here are less than, because you are bigger. Negative 8 is bigger than anybody that will come after you. Is that okay? So the arrow goes straight. This is how simple you represent your answer on the number line. If you have any question, once again, make sure that you comment in the comment. Give us a thumbs up if you gain some value from this video.